Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for this meetup and thanks for the opportunity, first of all. And thanks for everyone for gathering here. And we are going to learn something new, and that's going to be interesting. Uh, yeah. So in this evening, we are going to discuss about PWA, which stands for Progressive Web Apps. And I just named this title as PWA is the future because it's going to be a future for sure. Maybe it may take another year or two, and it's going to be the default application that we will be using in future, in addition to our native applications, what we have in our mobile apps, right? So this is the agenda I have for today. I'm going to dive into deep, like what is PWA is, and what are the features we have in PWA, and some of the case studies I have, where exactly PWA can be implemented and what are the advantages of doing that. And and then we will dive into the technical aspects of PWA, like how it works, like what are the configurations we need to do when you want to migrate your existing web application into PWA. And following that, I will show you a quick demo based on Angular. And at the end, we will have a quick question and answer session. Yeah, and I am Uday. So I'm hosting Angular meetup events in Raleigh, North Carolina. And also I conduct meetup events in online that covers like most of the Asian countries and African countries. And that happens in the Saturday morning every month. And the Angular meetup that happens in Raleigh, again, it's going on online these days because of the pandemic. And you can just check those details in my Twitter handle at AskUday. You can contact me there if you just want to take part in our meetup events as a speaker. And also you can let know your friends, those who are interested to learn about Angular. So what is PWA? It stands for Progressive Web App. And you should have heard this buzzword somewhere, not exactly in Angular, but somewhere you should have heard this word PWA. And it's gaining popularity these days. And most of the web applications that are already developed in traditional way, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or Angular, React, or whatever framework behind that, and they are just migrating to PWA-enabled apps so that we can have more features incorporated within web application, and it may look like a native application. So and also it has the features something similar to native applications. Okay, and this is the definition I just took from Mozilla Web Docs for PWA. Progressive web apps use modern web APIs, and basically it's a web application. When I say PWA, a progressive web app, don't think that it's a native application and we are going to use Android or iOS here. No, it's going to be web application, and it's going to basically use modern web APIs. So when I say modern web API, we are going to use web API that is available in the modern browsers, right? All the web APIs like for accessing the camera, Bluetooth or video, whatever, and whichever browser supports that, and there this PWA application will work seamlessly. So yeah, let me continue the definition. Progressive web apps use modern web APIs along with traditional progressive enhancement strategy to create cross-platform web applications. So you create single web application with PWA enabled, and it can run across multiple platforms. It can run on Android, it can run on iOS, it can run on your Windows desktop, and it can run on any platforms that is more native to you. Like you have your own platform developed, and if you want to run this PWA, yes, you can run it, as long as you have a modern web browser installed in your platform. And what is that progressive enhancement strategy? What that deals with is you are going to develop web application and you are going to release your version of web application like sprint by sprint, or once in 3 months or 6 months. However you are going to release that, you are going to progressively develop your web application, and it's going to be deployed in a server, and it's going to be accessed from browser at the end of the day. And all these features, whatever I told, like camera, Bluetooth, whatever features that are available in browser are going to be utilized by the progressive web app that we are going to develop, and it will behave like a native application. Say, for example, if you want to connect from your app, progressive web app, to your friend's mobile, and you want to share an image over Bluetooth, yes, you can do that. You can do that right from your browser and right from your mobile, right from your web application. So you don't have to create a native application for that to do a file transfer or to access a camera, to take a picture, or to stream something over online using the camera again. So you don't have to go with a native application APIs there. You can just use the Chrome Web API or Edge Web API that are available in the modern web browsers, and you can deal with all these modern technologies. Okay, I hope you got the overall picture of what is PWA is. Let me dive into the features, like what are the features PWA has. The first feature is progressive. So when I say progressive, so you develop your web application, maybe it cannot support PWA at first, right? So you just start with a traditional web application. It's going to have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and it's going to do the same job of web application. And it's not going to have any PWA at first, in the first sprint, say for example. And in the second sprint, you are going to add some features in your web application. Like say suppose you are developing a photo gallery app, web app, and you want to display the list of photos that user saved in the cloud or somewhere, right? In the next sprint, when you release your update for your web application, what you can do, you can add a new functionality there to share those pictures over Bluetooth, right? So that is the second version of your app is going to look like. So you are progressively moving to the newer version of your web app. And in the third version, you just want to add a new functionality where user can take a picture right from the your web app, and you can save that to the cloud, and also you can see the picture on the photo gallery within the web app, right? You can progressively add these features one after the other as you progress with your web app development. So that's what we call it as progressive enhancement is a core principle of PWA. And the next one is discoverable. So this is one of the best feature we have in PWA when we compare it with native application. So when I talk about PWA, you have to always think about native application. I mean, you just need to compare it with native application. So when I say discoverable, what the term discoverable does here is, say for example, you are creating a native app, right? So native app in the sense like Android app or iOS app. So when you put something within your native app, like a piece of a text or a paragraph or a div tag, some content, and it's not going to be accessible from, I mean, it's not going to be accessible by search engines, right? Like search engines cannot enter into a native app, and it cannot index all the content within the native app. But in the case of PWA, Google search engine can go and index all the content available within the PWA app, because PWA is a web app, right? Similarly, another search engine like Bing can index your progressive web app. So your app discoverability increases. So when someone go and searches for something like photo gallery app, and it's going to, the search engine is going to show your app on the top, because it can it indexed more detail about your app. It knows what your app is going to do and what are the feature it has, right? So PWA is open to search engines. So whatever content you have within your PWA app is going to be indexed by your search engines, right? You can stop that as well based on the robots.txt what we add in the web applications, right? Just to let know search engines not to index the web app. So you can do that as well. But if you still want to search engines to index your page, you can just allow that. And the next thing is native app-like. So when I say native app-like, so how it's going to look like native app is, it's not going to have address bar at all. Even though it's going to be a web app, your app is not going to have address bar, because it's not going to run within native Chrome browser, right? It's going to run out of Chrome browser, but it's going to use Chrome browser SDK there in order to render the content. But it's going to run outside of your Chrome browser. So it will occupy the entire mobile space, and it will give a look like native app. So user will think like he's still accessing a native app, but actually the web app is what user is accessing. And your progressive web app can have an icon, like a app icon, and you can have that app icon on the mobile home screen or somewhere. So when user click on that, it's going to open the web app, not within the Chrome browser again. And you can add splash screen. Say for example, like when you open a Google Gmail app. So what happens? You will see a splash page, right? So Google basically does some background job there. It fetches the data from server, and basically your mails, and it's going to does that job. You can do that something similarly in progressive web apps as well. As soon as user clicks on the icon, you can display the splash screen there, and at that time you can bring some new data from the server. So that's what the native app functionality is what, and we can bring that to our progressive web apps as well. And responsive, and the progressive web app that we are going to develop, make sure it is responsive, so that user will have the same look and feel everywhere, wherever he is going to access it. Like you should have the good look and feel on the tablets and on browsers that are running on mobile devices, as well as on desktops and PCs, right? So it's going to be responsive. Then only user will assume, or user will at least think for a moment, okay, I'm accessing the same app everywhere, and the branding looks something similar, and it's something look alike, right? So you need to make sure your app is responsive so that it can render across multiple platforms, and network independent. So this is one of the important feature of PWA. So whenever we access web applications, right? So what happens when there is no internet? Say for example, let me share my screen. Let me go to incognito window, and in incognito window, I'm going to change the network activity to offline. Okay, so I'm just mimicking offline here, but actually I didn't go offline. I'm just making my incognito browser offline here. So what basically going to happen is when I access google.com, it's going to display this dinosaur icon, right? We can play the game as well if you want, right? This is what happens when there is no internet. But it's basically because it's a web app, right? Google.com is a web app. So what happens if your web app is progressive web apps? It doesn't need internet. Okay, provided you don't want to bring some data from server. You still want to manage something, whatever there in the browser cache, you can go with the PWA, and it doesn't need any internet. And where exactly we can use this feature, network independent feature, is you are developing a game based on JavaScript, or like you are using some Angular or React libraries as well. So in that case, games don't need internet, first of all, like JavaScript games, provided it doesn't deal with any external APIs. If you are developing a tic-tac-toe game, and it can run offline, right? It can run as a PWA app. The user doesn't need internet at all to play that game. And how exactly you can handle the scores and other stuff is, as soon as user progress through the different levels, you can store those scores somewhere in the JSON within your web app. And as soon as internet is available, you can sync that data with your server, right? As soon as internet is switched on, what you can do, as a user, you don't have to do anything. Your web app can sync that data with your remote server, right? So that's why PWA is becoming very famous these days, because it doesn't need internet, and it can still run and perform the basic functionalities and deploy as you go. So this is one of the important feature I like in PWA, because you don't have to wait for Play Store approval or Google Play approval whenever you want to install a new, whenever you want to deploy a new app, because it's your server, and you can have your own server somewhere sitting in your uh, uh, where like somewhere in the remote region, right? Or you can even use AWS or Google Cloud Platform or Azure, whatever, and you can deploy your app as you go, because it's a web application, and you just need to do ng deploy or Firebase deploy, whatever, and it's going to deploy the app as soon as possible. And you don't have to wait for anyone's permission there, because it's your app, right? And you don't need to get any approval from Google or Apple to deploy your app, and you don't have to wait for their moderation and other stuff. And this is one of the good features we have in PWA. Like, you include your new features and deploy your application or ship your features to production as soon as possible, like in sprint or in a day, or even you can do it in like once in a week. So that's all I have for features. And if you have any questions, you can just ask me over here, or I think we have this chat functionality as well. You can post your question over there as well. Okay, and let's move on to the next section, which is PWA stats. So I took some statistics around PWA from internet, and I just put it here. You can grab more stats as well, but I just took like whatever brands that we are aware of and that are very popular among ourselves. Here is the first brand what we have, which is Starbucks. So when Starbucks moved their web application into a PWA web application, they increased their active users by twofolds, because users, some users may not like native apps. I personally don't like installing multiple apps in my mobile phone. I usually don't like installing whatever apps I see on Play Store, right? So in that case, what I usually do when I want to order something on Starbucks, I usually go to starbucks.com in my browser and I order coffee there, right? So in order to do that, every time what I need to do, I need to open my Chrome browser, input starbucks.com. If I already logged in, fine. If I was logged out, I need to sign in again, and I need to choose my whatever order I want. I need to place it there, right? So this is kind of a time consuming according to me, because I need to do like multiple steps here. But if I can avoid that, as a developer, what I can do, I can avoid that. I can let know my user, like, you just do as soon as you click on an icon, right? So that's what PWA come into picture. PWA app, the web app is going to have icon, and that icon can be somewhere in your home screen or wherever. And when user click on that, it's going to open the Starbucks PWA app, and there it's going to, if you are already logged in, fine, it's going to show you the recent orders, and from there you can choose your order, right? So this is what users started liking it, and the active users become more whenever they introduced PWA. And something similar happened for Uber. So when Uber released their PWA, it helped their clients who are having 2G network, like in like a year or 2 years back in India, 2G network was very popular. So 3G was taking some time there. So most of the users who are using 2G, they also use smartphones. But when they use Uber application, the native application, it takes more time to load content over there. So what Uber did, they just developed a PWA application for countries that are having lower bandwidth internet connectivity, and they released this PWA app, and they saw like 3 seconds load time for their web applications. Okay, and we can keep talking like that for every brand. And Alibaba introduced it, and they saw like 76% of increase in their site visits, and 14% increase in active users, and 30% more on Android devices. Android devices in the sense without native app, just PWA app, users started accessing it from Android devices. and even Trivago is a travel site. They saw like 150% of increase. And Pinterest is a social media platform, and you can see the stats over there. And Flipkart is a e-commerce giant in India, something similar to Amazon.com, and they saw like 50% increase in customer acquisition. Like more customers started using the app. And Forbes, you can see over there, and Google. Yeah. And one thing we need to talk about here, Google. Google have their all applications, most of their applications PWA enabled. Okay, I'm going to show that in coming slides, like what exactly, how exactly PWA is going to look like. Okay, so before I move on to PWA requirement, I'm talking more of theoretical part, right? So I just need to show you how PWA app look like. So let me take Twitter as an example here. And we just got some comment here. Yeah, I can. So I'm into Twitter already, right? So what I do, you can see this plus icon here, right? It says, I want to install this Twitter app, web app as progressive web app. So let me do that. When I click on this, it asks whether I want to install this as a progressive web app. Yes, I do want this to be accessed as progressive web app going forward. I don't want to access it from my Chrome browser. So when I do install, it just gets installed and it's running like a native app, like a MS Word or a PowerPoint or whatever app that you have in your desktop or Apple laptops, right? So it is looking like a native app now. So it doesn't have the address bar here, and the user will feel like, okay, he is accessing the native application here, right? And actually, it is running on Chrome browser, if you ask me. But it won't give any glimpse of that it is running on Chrome browser, right? So it is going to have all the features, functionalities that you have on Twitter. And not only that, you can let me go to my desktop. You will see this icon, this app icon, right? Let me close this Twitter app and let me double click on that. You can see the app got just opened like a native application, and it's going to run on my machine, right? And I cannot show you making it offline now, because when I make it offline, like the streaming will be interrupted. So I don't want to do that now. Maybe you can try that later. Yeah, so this is one of the example for PWA. You just try the same thing from your Chrome browser in Apple mobile devices like iPhone or Android devices. Okay, you will see the same. You won't see the plus icon, but rather you will see something in the bottom that asks for like a notification. It will show, and that will ask whether you want to install it like a PWA app, right? So let me show that in the end of this session. I'm going to share you the demo link. You can just access it from your application, and you can, I'm sorry, from your browser, and you can see how that works. Okay. I hope you are clear with what PWA is and how it looks. And we need to do something. We need to dive into the technical part, right? So we know theoretically how it works and what are the advantages, but we need to know how it can be implemented. So before implementing it, when you are thinking you want to convert your existing web application into progressive web application, you need to think about these requirements. First, your app needs to run or serve on HTTPS, right? Because PWA is going to make a lot of background calls when your app is not even running. Like when you just open your browser, it's going to make a lot of background sync and other stuff. So it needs to be HTTPS in order to make sure the request is going to the authorized server or legitimate server. We need to make sure the app is running on HTTPS. And the second requirement is service worker. Make sure your browser has a web API called service worker enabled, and also it needs to support service worker. So you cannot use or you cannot access PWA from your Internet Explorer 8 or 10. Okay, I'm not sure whether IE10 supports PWA, but you cannot access. You can access a web application, but you cannot bring in the PWA features for your uh, older versions of browsers, right? So make sure your web browser is supporting Service Worker API, which is a web API basically. And the Service Worker is kind of a hero here. So it does all the job for you, like background sync, installing the app in the browser, and displaying the icon. Everything will be done by Service Worker, and it's a web API basically. And the third requirement is your application needs to have a file called web manifest. As you know what the term manifest is, right? So this web manifest is going to have information about what is the name of the application, and what is the icon that is going to be displayed in the and for iOS, the icon is going to look like something different. And for desktops, the icon is going to be again different. So you need to put the links for all those icons within this manifest file. Okay. And you will also let know in the manifest file, like how frequently you want to bring in the data from the remote server. And the fourth requirement is responsive. So the same Twitter app, when I access it from my mobile browser, it's going to be looking something similar to my desktop, right? The branding and the look and feel, but it's going to be responsive. Like some of the features may be hidden here and there, but it aligns, or it put all the icons and other stuff in the viewable way, right? And the last requirement what we have here is no redirects. Make sure whenever a request goes to your server needs to respond back. Your server should not redirect that request to another server. In that case, PWA will fail. It will not install the app. It will not fetch the new data from the remote server. Say, for example, you are moving your existing app to a PWA app, and later you are moving your PWA API calls into some like third-party calls or somewhere. This redirect is going to happen, and your PWA will fail, obviously, right? So make sure you follow these requirements in order to implement PWA in your existing web application. And coming to browser compatibility. So your browser needs to support Service Worker, first of all. That's the first requirement we have. And also it needs to support other web APIs like Bluetooth, video, camera, uh, and what else? Like location. All these functionalities need to be supported by your browser, right? So make sure you use modern browsers. Like you encourage your audience or users to use modern browsers in order to avail the PWA functionality, right? You can just display a simple toast saying that you are using older browser, upgrade it in order to enjoy new features, or however you want to put it, you can just do that. And these are the browsers that support Service Worker basically. Like Microsoft Edge 17 and above supports Service Worker, and Safari 13 and above supports Service Worker, and Chrome 40 and above supports Service Worker, and Mozilla Firefox 44 and above supports all the modern APIs, including Service Worker. Okay, just make sure your audience data as well, right? So just check your audience analytics, like what kind of browsers they are using, and according to that, you decide whether you want to move your existing application into PWA or not, right? Okay, so far we discussed something related to technical. Now I'm going to literally, tell you like how, what are the step-by-step approach you need to follow in order to implement a PWA, right? The first and foremost step is you need to create a manifest file. And this manifest file is going to have information about your app. So this is something like our SSN, we can say, right? Our SSN has all our information, right? It has our financial information, health information, everything, right? Tied together somehow. So something similar to that you need to have for your application, like PWA application, a simple file called web manifest file. And this file needs to have information about what the title of this app is, and the links to the icons for displaying in different devices, and a couple of other informations as well. So the first thing is you need to create this manifest file, and you just need to put it under your root application. I mean, right under the root of your application. So that's the first thing you need to do. And the next thing is you need to create icons of different sizes. Say the Twitter icon, what we are seeing on Apple iPhone devices and Android devices will look alike, right? They look similar, and the same icon on a desktop is going to look similar. But the pixel strength or some of the other, I mean, other what to say, other functionalities or something related to that icon may change from device to device, right? You need to take care of that. So you need to create different icons for different devices, and you need to provide links to those icons within your manifest file. So that is the second thing you need to do. And the third thing is you need to create a JavaScript file, and that needs to have the service worker implementation, right? So I cannot just let know my browser, hey, go and pick something from my server and install this new app, install this new version, or display this new version of app to the user. I cannot just let know my Chrome browser to do that, right? I mean, my browser cannot just do that by default. So I need to do that implementation somewhere within my JavaScript. So you need to create a JavaScript file called sw-config.js or whatever. You can name it whatever. For human readability, I'm naming it as sw-config.js. And you put your piece of code, JavaScript code, to let know your browser like when this background sync needs to happen, when this pop-up needs to be shown, and when this data that was synced from the server needs to be displayed on the UI. Those things you just put it within the sw-config. So you will have implementation like service worker installation, service worker running, service worker syncing data. All these operations you put within sw-config.js, right? You need to write all these boilerplate code. And a lot of websites available for creating these templates. I will show that later. And the fourth one is you need to install service worker. I mean, that will be taken care by sw-config.js itself. So you don't have to do that specifically. As soon as your browser reads sw-config.js, it just reads through the entire operation. First thing it will do is it will install the application. As soon as I click on install button over there in my browser, the Twitter app got installed, right? So that's what will happen here. It installs the event, and from there it will look for the user operation. Like if user wants to sync his game score with server, yes, it does that. When user wants to bring some new data from the server by clicking on sync button or something, it's going to do that syncing job, right? So once the service worker is installed and it's activated, it's going to be available in your browser as long as you manually uninstall that. So even when you clear your browser cache, it's not going to uninstall that. Even when you clear your temporary files, no, it's not going to uninstall service worker. So you need to manually go and uninstall the service worker from settings. So service worker will go different states, as I already told you, like install, activate, sync, idle. And when it goes to idle status, when you close your browser, it will go into idle state. Not only that, when you are not doing any action on your web application like syncing or nothing, it's going to be in idle state, right? And when you close your browser, it will be terminated. But so far, whatever I analyzed, some service workers are still running at the background even when the browser is closed. And it varies from browser implementation, right? I watched this behavior in I think in Mozilla Firefox, like long back. But in Chrome, I don't see this behavior. Chrome terminates the service worker as soon as you close the browser. But Mozilla Firefox was allowing the service workers to run in the background even when the browser is closed, right? So these are the different states what we have, and these are the steps you need to follow whenever you implement a service worker. And this is a diagrammatic representation of service worker lifecycle. So when there is no service worker available, I mean, when I say no service worker available, what it means, say if Twitter app was not installed, what will happen? It will again show the install icon here, but now it's not showing this install icon. That's because the app is already installed in my machine, right? This functionality will be taken care by the service worker that is running in my browser. First, it checks whether the service worker is installed for that specific progressive web app. If it is not installed, it is going to install it. So when I click on install button, it's actually going to install it, and it will activate the service worker. And when I don't do any job like syncing or nothing, the service worker will be in idle state. And when I want to sync something to and fro between my server and my progressive web app, it's going to fetch the data, right? And when I close the browser, it's going to terminate the service worker. And when there is no service worker available in my machine, in my browser, that means if I am accessing this installation, or I'm doing this installation in older versions of browser, it's going to throw error. Okay, so this is what the life cycle of service worker is. Okay, let's take a quick break from this presentation. Okay, and I'm going to show you how we can create service worker implementation and all those with Angular later, and what exactly this ng add will do. I will just explain it there. But before that, I just want to show you a simple web application that I developed, which I named it as Dad Joke app, which is going to fetch a dad joke from remote API, and it's going to show that on my UI. Okay, I have this code already in my GitHub repository. The link is already there in the slides. I will also share that in my, in the chat window as well. So let me just clone this app. So I'm already there in the folder called GDG, and I'm going to clone the app, Dad Joke. Oh my God, I think I didn't. Yeah, let me click on this. So git clone, right click, paste. I think it is not copying that link. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to clone this app, and let me move into the app. And first thing I need to do is, it's Angular app. Let me open that code in VS Code. Yeah, so this particular application is already well implemented with remote API and other stuff. It's going to bring in the new dad joke as soon as you click on the next icon, and also it has functionalities like share and other stuff. I'll show that later. So I just cloned this app, but I need to install the dependencies. So I just do npm I, and it will take a couple seconds to install all the dependencies. And after that, I will run this app in my local, and I will show you how it looks like. Okay, and it's not PWA app yet. It's simple Angular app. I would say it's a traditional app, and it's not going to have any PWA functionalities. Okay. Okay, and it's going to take a couple seconds to download. And in the meantime, I will just share this link in chat window for my repository. You can just take a look. You can just copy this link, and you can store it for now. Or you can just clone it in your machine as well. You can try it from your machine as well, how it works. Okay, and you can just follow me to create PWA if you would like to. Okay, so I install all the dependencies, and it's time to run my app. So we run app using ng serve command, right? And the shortcut for that is ngs. And I also want to open this app on my default browser. So I provide the option -o. And just ignore this warning because the app which I am having is 9.0.7, and the CLI what I have in my mission is 9.1.6. So that's why it is showing this warning. You can just ignore that because I didn't upgrade this app yet. I will do that later maybe. Okay, so it's building my app and it's going to serve it on my Angular, serve it from the Angular inbuilt server. And you can just see the app running on my browser in a couple minutes. So a couple seconds. It's not going to take more time. Yeah, in the meantime, you can just clone this app in your machine. You can do npm install, and also you can run this side by side if you want. Okay, and if you got any questions so far on whatever we discussed about service worker or features or anything, just put your question on the chat window so that you will not miss it. You can ask the questions at the end, but still you can just put the questions over there as well, just to keep in track. Yeah, so this is the app running on my mission. Hope you are able to see. Dad joke of the day, right? I'm fetching this dad joke from a remote API. And the API which I'm using here is this one. Right? This is the API I'm using. I don't know, it's taking so much time to load. Okay, I just put this link as well in the. Yeah, dad joke is a service. Yeah. So this is a service I'm using, and it fetches. It just returns a random joke whenever I click on this next button, next icon, right? This is the joke what we have here, and if the joke is something against or something, I'm not responsible. I am just fetching it from the remote service. Okay, so this is just for our learning purpose. Okay, don't take it some other way. So when I click on this icon, you can see the next joke got loaded here, right? I like this joke. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share it on Twitter. So I have this icon, share icon here. When I click on this, it's going to open it in Twitter. And I'm going to say this was tweeted in GDG Indie session. Okay. And add some smiley and just tweet it. Yep. It got, the tweet got posted. So that is one functionality. And the other one I have in this PW, this is not a PW app, that just an app. And the other functionality I have here is this copy to clipboard. When I click on this, it just copied the joke to my clipboard. And how these functionalities are working here is because I'm using modern web APIs. We have a copy to clipboard modern web API available, and I'm just invoking that in order to copy whatever available within this div or paragraph to my clipboard, right? So I just copied that. Let me paste it and see whether it copied it correctly. Yes, it did, right? So this is the app I have. This is not PW yet because you don't see this install icon here, right? And we are going to make this as PW app so that it can access it. We can access it from any browsers, and we can have a native app look. Okay, rather than a traditional web app, I'm going to make it like a native app. But it's not native app. It's still going to be web app, but it's going to look like a native app. But before that, we just need to check the score for PWA. And Chrome browser comes with a good support for checking whether your app is PWA enabled or not. So for that, we are going to take help from Lighthouse. And I'm going to create the report for my app. So let me click on this generate report, and I just want to check it in terms of desktop, and I just want to check whether it is going to be a progressive web app or not. It will just give me the score. So the Lighthouse is running behind, and it's checking whether the app which I am running on my browser is PWA enabled or not. And it will just let us know the score, whether it is PWA enabled or not. It's not even showing the score. That means it is not PWA enabled, and it's asking me to fix all these issues, right? The one thing you will understand here, which we already discussed, which is installable. Okay, if you take a look at here, it is lacking, or it is not having web app manifest support. That means it is not having the file called web app manifest file. That's why it is saying it cannot find no manifest. Just fix this. And it also provide it also provide the document like where you can take a look and see how this particular issue can be fixed, right? So these are the issues we need to fix in order to make it like at least 95% PWA enabled. So to do that, I'm going to take help from Angular, because I'm not kind of a from scratch person, because I'm going to take the help of framework here. So I'm going to make this web application PWA ready by adding Angular PWA support for my application. Okay, to do that, I'm going to install or add Angular PWA support to my application. So just take a look what are the files we just updated here. So it says like only one file got updated in the Git. In the Git space, you can see that like only one file was edited or updated, right? Once after I add this package, Angular PWA, you are going to see so many files got added in the Git space for commit. Okay. Okay, I'll go ahead and add functionality for my web app to behave like a progressive web app. So to do that, I'm going to add Angular PWA support. So it's going to add PWA support to my web application. And you just take a look at package.json first. It's here. Okay. It's just going to add support for PWA here. So once it installed, we can see it. Okay. Yep. It added the support for PWA here, and you can see yeah, you can see it added support for service worker. I was searching for PWA. Yeah, not PWA. It added service worker support here. So this package needs to be installed now, right? So we just added it, but we didn't. Oh, it installed it already. Yes, it installed it already. So we don't have to install it anyway. I'm just going to do npm i just to make sure all the packages are installed. Otherwise, when we run our application, it's going to throw error, right? Okay, it added the functionality for my application, and yep, and you can see it is not having this install icon, right? It's not having the install icon. And what are the new files got added? That's what I was about to say. So in the Git space, you can see it added a file called manifest manifest.webmanifest file. And this was the file I was talking about, and it's going to have information about your app, the title, icon, links to the icon, and other information like whether the start URL is this one, or it's going to be dot/product or /order, whatever you can specify here. Okay, it's going to be the index.html in this case, and display is standalone. It's not going to align with any of the existing native apps. It's going to display like a standalone app. And if you want to have the background color for your native app, sorry, your PW app, you can add that here. And also you can have a short name that's going to look that's going to be displayed right under the icon in your mobile browsers, right? And these are the icons that are going to display in your respective device. So this is for 72x72, like mostly small devices, and this 512x512 is basically for desktop devices, right? And other sizes are also there, like the mobile devices will pick those respective icons. So that's what we mentioned here in sizes, right? And in addition to that, we have another file called ngsw-config.json. The config.json, which I was talking about before, it got generated by Angular itself. So all the boilerplate code got added by Angular itself. And it's going to basically deal with installing the service worker and doing the background sync. In my case, I'm not going to do any background sync. I just want to install the app. So I'm just going to install the app, and it's going to prefetch everything under my index.html, web manifest file, favicon.ico, CSS, JavaScript. Everything are going to be downloaded in the first time when you install the app, and it will be cached within the device, mobile device or desktop device, so that you can have the offline support. Like you can still access the CSS and JS whenever there is no internet connectivity, right? That's why we mention it as prefetch. So prefetch is nothing but it's going to prefetch everything. Okay, and it's going to be on lazy mode, like only when you install it. Without installing, we are not going to prefetch everything and store it in the devices. And these are the icons. You can take a look. And in index.html, it added a couple of stuffs. It added no script. You need to have this no script tag because this is a standard which is expected in most of the devices. When JavaScript is not supported, it's going to display this. Please enable JavaScript. Okay. And link to APIs like Google APIs, and link to my web manifest file, which is already there right under the root. So this has got added in index.html, and in app.module.ts, you can see it added support for service worker module, and it registered that by invoking the register method, and it's taking the parameter ng-sw-worker.js. Okay, and this is the default file that is available within the Angular, which will take care of service worker implementation and other stuff. Okay, so if you don't take help of Angular here, you need to do all these stuff like one after the other. You need to take care of this boilerplate code, creating the icons, everything. Even though I'm using Angular icons here, I can change these icons to something else according to my app. For dad joke app, I can have a dad icon somewhere within my app. So you can put those icons within the assets under icons folder. And when you add those icons, just make sure you have these names so that whenever new developer take a look at your code, he will understand, okay, so the icon is for the particular 72x72 device. Okay, all set. So let me go ahead and build this application. And how I'm going to build this application is I'm going to take help of Angular CLI here, ng build, and I want to build it in production mode by adding the option -prod. And when I build this application, what happens? It will build this code, right? And I can render that code right from the code that was just built. I don't have to do ng-serve every time. I can do it, but still I don't want to do ng-serve. Rather, I just want to build this application and I want to run it standalone from a different server. That's my intention. Okay. So let it build. It may take a couple seconds for sure. And I already spoke about this API, right? So dad joke service. Yeah, and this is going to build it, and let it build. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to deploy this code in remote server. And I'm going to take help of Firebase, which is a Google product again. And it's going to, I'm going to build the code and I'm going to deploy it into Firebase as web app. That's what I'm going to do at the end of the session. Okay. So just give me a couple seconds. Yep, all set. It generated the chunks like JS and CSS. You can see that right under dist folder under dat joke. And what you can do, you can just copy this entire stuff and put it in your Google Cloud platform, or you can even put it in the Firebase, or you can even put it in your dedicated server as well, and you can run it from there, right? This is a PWA app because we enabled PWA by adding Angular PWA support. So it's 100% PWA app, but to just make sure that I just need to run it in my local, and on top of that, I want to run the Lighthouse tool to make sure whether I satisfy all the requirements set by Lighthouse tool. Okay, and I'm going to run this code. I'm going to run this app using Light Server. You probably know this, right? So Light Server is again a simple server. Light Server, as the name says, you can install this in your machine using npm install command, and it just runs like a traditional server, and it looks for index.html under the server where you are running this Light Server. Okay, and it's running at port number 3000. Okay, it's running now, but it says it cannot load. Okay, actually I have some problem in my browser because I run Gatsby blog. Gatsby already cached something, so that's interfering with my current app, because Gatsby also runs on 3000 port number. So I'm going to access it from incognito. Yes, perfect. So in incognito, I'm not having any cache interference from my Gatsby app. Yep, all set. My app is running on port number 3000. It's not run within Angular, right? I built the app and I run this app from Light Server. Okay, now it's time to go and validate whether it is PWA app, right? It's desktop version, and just select progressive web app and click on generate report, and it's just going to give us a couple of stuff that we may have to fix it. But if you take a look, I feel like 98% of requirements are satisfied here. The page load is fast, and the current page is returning 200 as the response code. That's the important thing, right, in application. And start URL is set, which is set to index.html, and it uses HTTPS. By default, it takes HTTPS, even though it is running on HTTP in local. For localhost, this Lighthouse tool consider it as HTTPS. And the service worker implementation is registered, and web manifest is available. Yes, that's good. And does not redirect HTTP traffic to HTTPS. This is kind of we can ignore because we are not actually running our app on actual server, so you can just ignore this error. And splash page is configured. By default, it applies like splash page as icon page. As soon as you click on the app, it displays the splash page with icon at the center. That's what it says. It sets the theme color. Yes, we have theme color, which we set within our web manifest. Right, we set the theme color here. And content is sized correctly for the viewport. I think we can ignore this again because we are running on localhost. And viewport is set to initial scale. Yeah, by default, all Angular apps will have that. And contain some content when JavaScript is not available. Yep. This is what it is talking about, right? And the last one is Apple icon is not there. So I'm not going to spend more time to bring Apple touch icon. Apple touch icon, in the sense, Apple will not consider these icons. Okay, we need to create Apple touch icon separately, but I am not going to do that now. It's going to take more time. So you can take help from any websites like this, which generates icon generator for your Apple devices. Okay, you can just upload your file and you can create icons here, and this will solve this error. Okay, but I'm not going to do that now. Okay, all set. I can see everything, but you won't see this install icon. Any guess? It's because it's localhost and I cannot install it. Right? When I install it, it's going to add icon, and when I click on this icon, it's going to show this localhost page. Say suppose when server is not running, this localhost page is not going to load, right? So that's why browsers will not show this install icon whenever you run your application on localhost. Okay. So I'm going to deploy this application in a remote server. I'm going to take help of Firebase here. So before showing that, before installing that, I just want to show you my app is already running on Firebase, and this is not PW app. Okay, so this is not a PW app, and you will not see this install icon here. And even when I generate a report for a PWA using Lighthouse, it's going to throw error saying that it is not PWA. I get so many errors here, right? That's because it's not PWA enabled yet. So you can just access this app from your machine and see how it works. Okay, I just shared this link. In chat window, and this is before PWA implementation, and you won't see this plus icon, right? So now I'm going to deploy this code to the same server where the application is running, right? I'm going to take help of Firebase. So if you are already familiar with the Firebase, you can just initialize the Firebase project and you can deploy it. But if you are not aware of what Firebase is, you can just take a look at this quick tutorial available under this alligator.io. Okay, you can just take a look how to install Firebase in your local as a npm package, and how to log into Firebase, how to initialize a Firebase project, and how to deploy the project to the remote Firebase server, right? Sure. Yeah, coming back. So I'm going to initialize this project to Firebase. So I'm running Firebase init command. You can see that terminal. Let me put it here. Yeah, Firebase init. So it's going to do like basic initialization for my project, and it's asking me whether I'm ready to initialize this project for Firebase. Yes, I'm ready. And I need to choose which Firebase product, which option I need to choose. We are going to host it as a web app, right? So choose hosting and click enter. Hit enter. And here you can either create a new project like Firebase project, or you can use existing Firebase project. I'm going to use the existing Firebase project. So I'm going to say use an existing Firebase project. And I have these 3 Firebase projects running under my login. And I'm going to choose DadJoke PWA, which is the one which you are, which is the one which I just shared now in chat window. I'm choosing that project. All set. And now I need to let know Firebase like where exactly my static files are. Like once after I build my code, where the static files go into, and it's going to be under this folder under DadJoke, right? So you just specify that under this folder, look for DadJoke folder, right? That's what is there, right? Correct. So under this folder, look for DadJoke. and I don't want to configure it as a single page app. So I'm saying it as no, and file already exists. It is asking whether I want to overwrite. I'm going to say no. All set. It created a Firebase configuration for me. You can check that here under firebase.json, and it says everything under dist/dat joke will be pushed to my remote server. Right? All set. Now it's time to deploy our code. So the command for deploying the code is firebase deploy, and it's going to fetch the content of dist/dat joke, and it's just going to push it to my Firebase server, and it will also provide you the link where you can see the app running. Okay, it's the same link. So I'm going to open it. I'm going to open it from incognito. Okay, so I'm not seeing that install icon. Just a moment. I think it's still installing it.
Show up in incognito. It works fine if you're not in incognito.
So it works for you?
Yeah, it's working for me, but not in incognito.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think it should not in incognito, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, it should not show in incognito, I believe. Let me try once again. Just give me a moment. Yes, because again, this is kind of a privacy standard. Like we don't want Google to let know that I installed this app, right? That's why it is not having this feature in incognito. Yep. So it is there now in the normal Chrome browser. It is there. So just click on this install dat joke, and it's going to show this pop-up. And just click on this button install. All set. We have this app installed as a progressive web app, and it's going to look like a native web app, right? And you can see this icon on my desktop as well. This is icon we have. When I double click on this, it's going to show this web app. And when I click on this next, it's going to show the dat joke. And again, it's going to work in the same way how it was working in the traditional web app, like sharing, copy to clipboard, everything. Okay. And you can also see in your Chrome web store, sorry, Chrome web app, Chrome apps, not web store. And in Chrome apps, you can see the installed progressive web apps. I have one more web app, progressive web app called Carbon. You know about Carbon, right? Where we can create nice code snippets. So this Carbon is again a progressive web app. So it works seamlessly when there is no internet as well. Okay, but don't expect our dat joke to bring a new joke when there is no internet, because we are depending on API, right? So what you can do, you can have list of dat jokes within a JSON, like 100 or 200 dat jokes, and you can have it within your application. And when there is no internet, you can ask your application to hit the local datjoke.json file to bring the new joke. Okay, so you need to cache that. You need to let know your service worker that please cache my dat joke. Sorry, where is that? Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Yeah, you need to let know your dat joke file within here, so that it will be prefetched and cached when user install this app. Okay. So now you just access this dat joke from your mobile, and you will see something like this. When you access it from desktop, you will see this install icon as shown in this GIF. Okay, and in mobile, you will see something in the bottom, like it will ask you whether you want to install it as a PWA. You can see add to home screen, right? Whenever you see add to home screen, that means the web application is having progressive web app functionality, right? And you will see that added to your home screen as well as an icon. Okay. Yep. So we are at the end of the session. So far we saw like simple example, like a simple dad joke application, which we converted it into PWA. But you may have a question like whether we can access Bluetooth or camera or some other stuff like location and other stuff from my progressive web app. Yes, you can do that. So 100% you can do that. You can check this link to see what are the support we have in PWA. Say for example, even if you access this website from your mobile device, you can just run over the samples for triggering your Bluetooth. You can switch on your Bluetooth right from your web app. So without even clicking on your native app interfaces for switching on the Bluetooth, you can still do that right from your web app, right? Even you can do file access. Even you can do file access, or you cannot access contacts because contacts are secure. So what can be accessed and what cannot is listed here. Okay, and Bluetooth is fine. NFC support is not there, and USB support is there. Like you can do something with USB, and serial ports you can access, and device features like battery status you can check. Right, vibration you can do from your progressive web app. But to do that, you need to access APIs basically. So to access Vibrator, all you need to do is navigator.vibrate 200. So 200 is the value, like milliseconds. For that milliseconds, it will vibrate. Okay, and Navigator is an web API. Okay, so you can check this to implement progressive web app. And the basic difference between progressive web app and native web app is you are going to develop a simple web application and you are going to progressively add these features, and you can deploy it as soon as possible without waiting for Apple Store or Google Play Store approval. Okay, there is one disadvantage as well. So I need to talk about disadvantage as well, right? When we talk about all the good stuffs with progressive web apps, we need to think about the dark side of progressive web app as well. So one thing is, it's not going to ask for users permission whenever user want to switch on Bluetooth, whenever user want to switch on like location and all. That's what it did in Android device. I'm not sure about Apple device. So when I clicked on turn on Bluetooth from my web app, it just turned on Bluetooth. It didn't even ask me whether I need to allow the app to access Bluetooth or not. So those permission constraints we have in progressive web app, I think that will be solved in future. So those implementation need to be done by browser end. I think that will be done in future, and PWA will become like a standard in future. And it's going to replace native web apps in future for sure, right? So that's all I have, and thank you so much for being with me and listening all my